Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Execute.
What?
Engage.
Dude, I'm already married.
Send it.
At what?
Just shoot. Miss.
Where? How far?
I can't tell. It's just like between here and the tree line.
That's a lot of space between here and there. How many, what give me a mill call.
Left. Miss.
That doesn't help at all. What's the wind doing?
Hold southeast.
Okay.
Miss again.
The earth never stops moving. Let's come up 25 mils.
Yeah, maybe try to bracket it like artillery in like World War I movies, you know?
Oh, like a beaten zone kind of thing.
Yeah. Miss again.
Dude, I don't know exactly what this means, but I heard Grantham talking about overmatch.
He's just a seer guy.
Let me try one more.
You keep on missing.
Dude, you're not giving me any wind calls. You told me last, whatever it was, that you didn't even know what a MOA was, and the wind has been inconsistent. We're not getting anywhere with this. Let's go down. Let's go. I bet I'm hitting it, and you just don't even see.
It's not me. It's not me. Well, can't post that on the gram. Okay. Hashtag groups.
Hey, when you're done, can you send me that?
Yep. Yeah, we should probably talk to someone who's actually good at long range, because that was like 20 bucks in ammo.
Let's see if Adrian at Sidewinder's free.
Yeah.
Left point 1.
Copy.
Left point 1. Impact. 10 seconds. Again. Backed it. Again. Nice. Alright, transition over to the right. Alright, so we're on that target, that freshly painted target right by the driver's side door. Elevation 2.5.
2.5.
Let me know when you're ready. Stand by for wind.
I'm on it.
You're on?
I'm on.
Left point 1.
Left point 1.
Alright, come up point 3. So up point 3. Left point 2. Impact. Left point 1. Impact. Same thing. There you go. Alright, transition to that back berm at Charlie 3. Left point 3.
Left point 3.
Or sorry, left point 2.
I'm on it.
Bend it. Back again. Alright, left point 2.
Left point 2.
But a lot of people mistake that. We're going to do one more round. No, right side.
Impact.
So I have to say, you know, and all the like podcasts and videos and everything else, everyone's always like, yeah, man, sniper teams are in a set of 2. And the most experienced one and the guy who actually knows what he's talking about is always the spotter.
More often than not.
No duh.
Right.
Because I'm not.
You're not doing the work.
I'm not a very good
It's just
shooter.
fundamentals of marketing.
You're all I'm doing is I understand how to read a reticle. I know how to read a graph. And when you say I want your mills at whatever, or making wind calls or whatever the case is, all I have to do is know how to read lines, and you are giving me all the information. This is really the first time that I've shot a gun like this at this distance.
Well, so how do you like the Aero Precision Solus?
This thing is fantastic. I mean, the whole setup that you have with the Mark V, of course, helps.
Right.
But you're giving me the data, and all I'm doing is just understanding what you want me to do, and then pressing a trigger.
Yep.
But you're really doing all the work.
more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, within a team environment, right?
Sure.
So to get this information is generally like what we teach in the classes and stuff like that, like how to go through the ballistic calculator, all that other stuff. If we had a ton more time, I would definitely go through all that, and we could do that, you know, behind the scenes a little bit, so that we can get you all doped in and stuff like that. But yeah, more often than not, the super experienced guy or whoever's been on the gun longer is generally going to be the spotter, because it's just you knew what to put on, and then you're just staying focused on all your fundamentals at that point and going down range.
All right, guys, we're out here at the Loophole event that's put on by Twisted Barrel Precision. It's a pretty awesome range. And shooting distance is something that I've wanted to do for a while, even though I don't have a long-range rifle or a long-range cartridge inside of any of these weapon systems. But thank goodness we have Adrian of Sidewinder Systems here.
Concepts.
Well, Sidewinder Concepts, please
Yeah.
excuse me. But I'm here to learn, and I'm just gonna kind of go through we already zeroed this rifle, and I need him to kind of walk me through why am I not getting hits out at distance? And I view things even beyond 200 yards as like, well, my rifle's maybe zeroed there, but that's a long ways away at 300 yards to me. So
Right.
you said something a little bit interesting previously about 300 yard engagements and in being fairly close. What's your take on that?
You'll have to remind me. There's been a lot of
You said
conversation.
something about how 300 meters and in is CQB distances to you.
Yes. So the question that I asked these guys was, what do you consider CQB distance? And I'll ask you, what do you consider CQB distance?
The only information that I have to go off of is what's been provided over Instagram or YouTube, which everyone says on the internet is you're inside of a structure and you're shooting 25 yards and in. So that being said, as soon as you stated 300 meters and in, my mind goes to, well, heck yeah, if someone's 100 yards away, I would consider that person to be fairly close. If they're shooting at me, that guy's pretty close.
So, okay, so the mindset that I have behind it is CQB is when it becomes too close for comfort. And the reason why I bring that up for 300 and in is because if you look at majority of the zeros that most rifles have across the world, there's somewhere going to be, you know, 50, a 30, you know, 36, a 25 yard zero. So if you could take somebody less educated, like third world country people, or you know, somebody who just doesn't know,
Sure.
and all I got to do is teach you to have equal sight, equal light with irons, or just take the red dot and put it on the target, and it has a high chance of hitting, then that's too close for comfort.
That's fair. Yeah.
And so it goes into CQB distances. You know, obviously we have all the inside structure based training, but then it's also can we stretch that out for that knowledge and make sure that we can actually connect? Because if it's too close for comfort and somebody that doesn't have that full-blown tactical mindset can give you a bad day, then it really comes down to who's the smarter person, who's faster on the gun, and all those kind of aspects. The things that everybody teaches inside structures, but let's open it up a little bit.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, before we get into shooting, I'm curious, because you are a very proficient distance shooter. What's your background? How have you gotten into this world?
So just recently got out of the Army, did just shy of a decade, spent majority of that time in the reconnaissance and sniper realm. So most snipers, you know, phase out about 3-ish years because they just cycle for the Army specifically. I had an opportunity to spend almost all of that time in the sniper section. So just developing that skill set, trying to identify easier ways to engage these targets, find new ways to explain it to other shooters and stuff like that. And that's where I spent the majority of my time.
Okay, well, we got 2 rifles that are zeroed, and I'm kind of curious if I can even hit anything. So why don't we start slinging some rounds, and then you can critique as we go.
Cool. You going prone or off the table?
I'll start prone, and then maybe we can get into some
You want
positional
bolt
stuff.
gun or AR?
Let me start with this, and then I'll shoot
All
something
right.
that'll actually hit stuff.
I'm gonna swap over to the binos here so I can spot you.
Sounds good. So before we carry on with this video, we have to thank the sponsor, Shooting Surplus. Guys, if you're looking for some of the gear, whether it's training tools or ammo or parts for your tools, Go check them out. We do have in the description of this video a discount code as well as an email chain that you can sign up to where you can find out about sales and some of the other stuff that we are coming out with in the future. A lot of good stuff in the works. Additionally, if you want to sponsor us in your own way, Patreon, it can be $5 a month or whatever it is that you choose to support us with. But inside of that, we do everything that we can to give back and give you guys information before it comes out ahead of time. And sometimes even Patreon members can influence some of the content that we have en route. So also thank you very much to Loophole for bringing this out on this trip. This has been awesome. And then also Twisted Barrel for hosting. All right, let's get back to the video.
All right, so you see this first berm in front of us here?
Yes.
It has a berm marker of Charlie 1.
Yeah, let me verify.
The marker is on the far left.
I got you.
All right, so stand by for distance. Now, you don't have any data for that rifle, correct?
No, I don't.
All right, so that target is, or that berm is at 400 yards.
Okay.
So when I don't have data, and it's one of those figure it the fuck out kind of situations, you just take your distance, subtract 150.
Okay.
So what does that come out to?
250.
All right, so your first initial elevation call is going to be 2.5. So you take the first two numbers. This is just to get you in the ballpark. And since you got that reticle inside there,
Yep.
you're going to identify the miss, make the quick correction, and then get back on target.
Okay.
And I'm going to help you out with all that stuff since this is the first time we're doing this.
Sounds good. I only see the silhouette on the right.
Yep, that's what we're going for.
Perfect.
So your starting elevation is going to be the 2.5.
Perfect, I'm on it.
All right, do you see where that went?
Negative.
All right, so it went just over top of the forehead.
Okay.
So all we got to do is just drop at 0.5. Same wind call. Impact. Again. Again. There you go, those are all impacts.
Right
all
on.
right, so off the far right, just off the back edge of that car, you see another IPSC with a yellow stripe going across its neck.
Not necessarily.
All right, so from your previous engagement.
Oh, I see him now.
Okay.
Yep.
Stand by for distance. So 480. Got to do a little bit more head math there.
Okay.
I'd probably would just add 0.5 onto your elevation
Sure.
from what your previous was.
Yep, I got him.
And then left 0.3. Dead center, impact. Again. Impact. Again. Nice. All right, so now we're gonna go to that. If you keep following in that diagonal pattern, you'll see that back berm with a marker of Charlie 3.
Yep.
That far left silhouette is what we're gonna go for. Stand by for distance. So 600. So do your 600, subtract 150.
Perfect.
Those first two digits is gonna be your starting elevation call.
All right. About 4.5.
Yep,
Ready?
you're on.
I'm on it, holding left edge.
No, go left 0.5
Okay, quite a bit.
on you. All right, so you saw how that was off the left edge?
Yes.
So hold center. Oh. All right, so you need to come up just a hair because you're right at the bottom edge of it.
Got it.
So what I want you to do is I want you to measure from the bottom edge of the plate to
Yep.
the center. How many mils is that?
4.
0.4?
0.4.
Okay, so just come up an extra 0.4.
Okay.
Go left 0.2.
On it.
Impact. Again. Nice. And one more. There you go.
Okay, so two things there. When you started, we're shooting 5.56. You said, all right, we're gonna work off of 308 dope.
Right.
How is it that you're able to take a 308, which in my mind, now I and for the most part know the numbers and I understand that those kind of fly through the air at about the same rate. That 308's moving a little bit faster, but it's falling at about the same speed. How is it that you're able to take a 308 and work off of, for the most part, those same numbers and apply it to a 5.56?
So in the sniper community with the 175 CR Match King and 20-inch 308s that we were shooting, they had about the same trajectory path out to about 5 and 600 as the 62 grain 14.5s. Now again, we don't have any data, so I'm just having a starting reference point based off of that.
Right.
So the 150 rule that we were just doing, it was kind of generated around that particular rifle, the M110 SAS, with that 308, and you could see that it was within, you know, a nice little cone of fire,
Right.
kind of thing. And then we're just making quick corrections.
Okay.
So we just went from 4 to 600 right out the gate.
Right.
Just doing that with zero data, zero chrono information. All we know is that that rifle is shooting 55 grain and it was zeroed at 100.
Yep.
So it's just a problem-solving based system that we just did.
Does that same rule apply to other rounds, the 150 rule? If you were to pull up a 6.5 Creedmoor, or...
No, so for 6.5 Creedmoor, it would be a little bit more to subtract. So generally with 6.5 Creedmoor, I do subtract 200. So a rough estimate would be if it's less than 2,700 feet per second, use the 150 rule.
Okay.
If it's more than 2,700 feet per second, use subtract 200.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's just, again, it's just to get into the ballpark area and then make a quick correction on top of that.
Sure.
The proper way of doing this is to go through chronographing your rifle, identifying the exact projectile that it's shooting, plug it into a ballistic calculator, and then get all your drops from there.
Okay.
And that's what we will do next.
Sure. Okay.
Because then this will just be even easier.
Right. So that's fairly easy to do when I'm in the prone, but for the most part, I doubt.
And you weren't shooting with a bag, were you?
No, I was not.
Well, we need to get you a bag.
Okay.
Because that's going to make you more accurate.
Fair enough.
So I would treat a tabletop type scenario like this similar to how I would be in prone.
Oh, okay.
So bipods, rear bag.
Fair enough. You're not
Only-
leaning back and sitting and just putting just the bipod up on the front of the table. You're leaning into the table.
No. So here, we'll go ahead and clear that out real quick. So the reason why we don't go through the process of one of these things is if you look at the back end of the buttstock here and we start implementing a little bit and you think about this from the bipod's back as being like a cone, the cone might be small here, but the cone on the front side, like if we had a laser pointer and we were pointing it out there so you could see it at night, the cone is going to be making something as big as those damn trees,
Sure.
right? So we have to control this like crazy.
Right.
Otherwise, we're going to skew our shots all over the place.
Sure.
So having that all the way up there so we can work towards 3 points of contact is going to give us the most consistency as possible, thus equating to accuracy.
Of course.
So in this particular scenario, grab the bag. It would be essentially line up towards the target, square your shoulders up behind the rifle. If you need to get lower, we're not staggering our stance because we don't want to have this twisting motion.
Sure.
We want to just go with a wider base. That way we can get down behind the rifle. And just like we would be if we were in the prone.
Yep.
Same kind of concept applies. We would get behind the target or behind the rifle, aiming at the target. We got our 3 points of contact and we're nice and steady.
Perfect. Okay.
So if you want to go ahead and
Yep,
hop
try a
on
few
there and
rounds
try
there.
it out. So the other thing too is with that, with the zoom on this, the thing I like to tell guys is I want you to mag out as far as you can where you can still accurately read all the information inside there.
Okay. So you want to see as much as possible, and as
Correct.
soon as you tighten everything down, then you're losing information.
And then you'll notice that when you start to shake just a little bit from your body or whatever the tolerances are on the rifle, is going to be, it's going to look like an unstable image.
You're right. You're magnifying your issues. Okay.
So zoom out as far as you can accurately still read the reticle itself. Not forcing yourself, like you still want to be comfortable, but just zoom out until you can still accurately read everything.
Okay. Makes sense.
So and then looking at your position, it looks good. You got your shoulders squared up. You got your stance nice and wide. How do you feel?
Stable.
Okay, how does it look on target? Does it still look stable?
It does.
All right, let's go for some shots.
All right.
Impact. Did you see it?
I did.
All right, follow up. Go ahead and just keep stacking those rounds, calling your own shots.
Those are good.
I'm gonna look at your position over here.
Shifting to the right, going out to 2.5 mils.
Okay.
Impact.
So here, this is what I want you to do. There's two different methods of holding the pistol grip. The first one being, and I'll get behind, so come on this side,
Sure.
You'll be able to see it a little bit easier. So we have the traditional precision grip,
Okay.
which everybody's very familiar with, which is the thumb around, right? I like this for bolt guns, right? When we start having a lot of loose tolerances, so right now, just even with just this rifle, right? This is yours, not mine.
Sure.
I always like to look down the side of the rifle and then just shimmy this in place. So I have the bag, I have the bipods, I have the rails, and I want to see if there's any loose tolerances. So we can see that there's a lot of wobble just in this platform alone. So right now, all I have is the bipods, which are flexing. And then if I go side to side, I can see that the Picatinny mount is moving within this M-lock rail.
Right.
So for me personally, when I'm selecting rails, I like stuff that's integrated into the rail itself.
Okay.
And this helps to mitigate all of that stuff.
Sure.
Because I want the weakest link to be me, not the equipment.
Yeah, instead of stacking tolerances from the handguard to the pick rail to the
Right.
bipod. Yeah.
And so you can see that portion right here. Now where this comes into with the grip is taking all that slop out. So with the precision grip, generally we're just letting this thing rest where it's at. But if we're working with a gas gun, especially at these closer in distances with the 5.56, we want to work on follow-up shots and recoil management. Well, we don't want any of that slop to happen with any of that. To take out all that slop, or as much as I possibly can, again, with ARs, I like to do my thumb around. I'm not gripping necessarily the entire thing, but what I am doing is I'm driving in this webbing area here between the thumb and the index finger.
Kind of like a pistol? You're getting a full...
Yes, but I'm not gripping all the way around.
Okay.
I'm more or less just driving and I'm pulling all that slop. So right here I'm locking in, and you can see how the bipods aren't moving anymore because I have everything, all the tolerances separated as much as possible to then lock it in place.
Okay.
So right here, this would be loose, and you can kind of do it right here, but you're just resting on the really light edge of your palm. So, but right here I can drive with that webbing. I'm not necessarily squeezing itself. I'm just driving, pulling all that slack out. And then when I'm locked in right here, you can see that I can shake it and it's the whole entire table is now moving, not necessarily the rifle itself.
Yep, that makes sense.
So this is the first thing that I do to try to bring those group sizes in.
Yep.
And then from a recoil management standpoint and follow through, having that ability to control, you know, obviously all the mechanisms on the inside of the AR,
Yep.
doing a cycling process, that's how I'm doing it, so I
Okay.
can stay on target.
That makes sense.
And then this is how you can have faster follow-on shots.
Okay.
So if you want to hop on the binos real quick.
Impact on those last ones, yep. Just a little bit of wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can see how the follow-ons were a lot easier.
Consistent.
And then usually what I do is get rid of the rubber feet. Rubber feet have a tendency to bounce a little bit with that flex, and especially with these Harris's here, I always take it off of the spring and I go to that first notch.
Oh, okay.
And you'll notice right away how much more solid that is, and it won't bounce as much. So, and then usually what I do, they're like 15 bucks for the aluminum spiked feet on these Harris's.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I can go grab mine and you can run the two and try them out.
Sure.
The spiked feet, even on concrete, tends to be a lot more rigid than these rubber feet.
Okay.
The only
makes sense.
time that this becomes an issue is like when guys want to put it into bags or running off of car hoods and stuff like that, then obviously it's a scratching issue, but we're training to fight.
Of course, that makes sense.
Training to hit the target. So
Agreed.
we want all the advantages that we can get within the marksmanship realm.
Okay.
What questions do you have?
Well, I'm curious about your 6.5 Creedmoor and how some of those vary.
Yeah,
You mind if I run that a few rounds?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. So when people say, well, a bolt gun is just more accurate inherently, I understand that the tool itself, you're not having moving parts inside while the gun is functioning, the tolerances with your bolt closing and everything else. I get that. But what you're saying is, on top of all those things, because we have upper and lower receivers, hand guards, and then extra stuff to get our bipod on there, it's not helping you as the shooter do what you're trying to do. Whereas you can shoot this, but the tool itself is only so accurate, not just based on the barrel, not just based on the bolt, but based on the way that the gun is designed.
The accessories, how it's set
Yeah,
up,
okay.
which pieces you chose.
Yes.
So for example, my AR, I don't have it here, but like I run the Geisley Mark IV, and the Mark IV has the integrated Picatinny up here.
Mm-hmm.
So from the bipod standpoint, it's pretty rock solid in comparison to running an M-LOK style system that you have these individual pieces and those smaller screws, and then they're sandwiched together, and they don't have a lot of those inset pieces to prevent it from moving, especially from a side to side standpoint, which is what you're getting right here.
Yeah.
And you can do a close up on it right down the edge as we get into this. So this is just important understanding for guys who are setting up their rifles. You can see that the bipods aren't moving. We're just dealing with the flex of that Picatinny like crazy.
Yeah.
Just that alone is something that nobody ever talks about because they just expect it to all work.
Right.
But inherently it's working against you.
Sure.
So
that's good to know.
Using all the right equipment or understanding what the right equipment is is half the battle right there.
All right, well, kind of as Adrian was showing us, it can be fairly easy to get on this stuff. Apparently it just takes a little bit of math and then understanding how to actually work the gun, and then there's a lot more things going on, like reading wind and understanding what the bullet's actually doing in your supersonic, transonic, and subsonic speeds. There's a ton of fancy stuff that I still need to learn. But all that being said, if you go out with someone who actually knows what they're talking about, you can catch the bug pretty quick and start hitting small targets at far away. So where can people find you if they're looking for some of this information?
So I'm most active on Instagram. So it'd be Sidewinder_concepts. You can also check out the website at sidewinderconcepts.com. And that's where I got classes posted. I'm out of the Houston area. Majority of the courses that I am doing at the moment are one-on-one courses. So just either hit me up on Instagram or shoot me an email on the website, and I'll definitely reach out back to you guys.
Right on. If a group of like 3 or 4 guys wanted to jump in and pitch in and have you, host a class for them, are you up for that kind of thing too?
Yeah, so I do. So currently, as this is being filmed, I got a couple of courses up at Ben Franklin Range up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And then working on trying to get back out west again, and then hopefully get some bigger courses out in Texas as well.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for letting me shoot
Absolutely.
your gun. We got a lot more shooting to do. Nick, thanks for filming this, man. We appreciate you. All right, guys, make sure you go out and get some training. If you guys have questions for us, you can hit us up at team@dirtycivilian.com. We're gonna go back and keep shooting.